Let us now touch and agree in the spirit of power and authority. This is my Bible. And today, I declare it to be my final authority. Now give God the loudest shout you have for his word. Because of that word, you will be victorious. Now stand at the reading of God's word and bear with me. I'm going to go through the text. John chapter 5, verse 1. We'll stop somewhere around verse number 9. After this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there is at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethesda, having 5 porches. In these laid a great multitude of impotent folks, of blind, withered folks, waiting for the moving of the water. I pray this morning you've come to experience the move. And you didn't allow the water outside to stop you from getting in the move. For an angel went down at a certain season into the pool and troubled the water. Whosoever then first got into trouble of the water was made whole of whatever disease or sickness he or she had. But look at verse number 5. And there was a certain man there which had an infirmity or an issue for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying in that position, he knew he had been there for a long time. Jesus says unto him, and this really got into my spirit. Jesus says unto this man that was stuck in that situation for 38 years, a man who was laying by the pool of healing, yet he was not healed. For 38 years, this man had a condition lingering for 38 years, and Jesus has the audacity to look at this man in his situation and circumstance and declare to this man a very disturbing and puzzling question. Do you want to be made well? Do you want to be healed? It was as if Jesus says, for real though. And the man responds to Jesus, Sir, I have no man when the water is troubled to put me into the pool. But while I am coming, another steps down before me. Excuse maker, pity party, feel sorry for me, won't nobody help me. I want to know how much you helping yourself. And I'm not a Republican, but we must learn how to be self-sufficient. Jesus says to him, rise up, take your bed and walk. And immediately the man was made whole, took his bed and walked. But look as I close. And on the same day was the Sabbath, and the Jews, the church folks, therefore said unto him who was cured, it is a Sabbath day. It is not lawful for you to carry your bed. Take your seat before them church folks make me mad again. Today I want to talk about, in a very simplistic fashion, attitude adjustment. Attitude adjustment. Don't ask your neighbor, but look at yourself and say, do I need to adjust my attitude? Do I need to adjust my attitude? Make it personal. Be real transparent. Say, yes, Lord, I'm in the right place because I need an attitude adjustment. Now, many of you are so mean, you didn't say a word, and you the main one that need to check your attitude, clogging up your own blessings because of your stubbornness. I ain't got to say all that. Well, that's why God don't have to do all that. And that's why you are stuck in your situation, because you refuse to move when the move of God is moving. So, this is in the midst of football season. My favorite team is always the home team. Last week, I was very impressed with something that took place. My Houston Texans, maybe not your Houston Texans, but my Houston Texans, we had a 10-point lead on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh played in the Super Bowl last year. Pittsburgh has all kind of championship rings. The Houston Texans had a 10-point lead on the Pittsburgh Steelers, yet after Houston's best player, Andre Johnson, went out the game, the lead evaporated separates, and now Pittsburgh ties the score up, and the score now is tied 10-10. Everybody that was watching the game all at one time declared, oh boy, here we go again. Another loss, another lead squandered, another potential victory down the drain. But something amazing happened this particular game last week. The team huddled up on the sideline, and the coach encouraged them and inspired them, and they stepped back on the field and drove down the field without their best offensive player. They drove down the field and scored the ball into the end zone. Now watch this now. But the game was not over because Pittsburgh had opportunity to score also. The same Pittsburgh offense that got in the Super Bowl last year, and they were going against a Houston Texans defense who just last year were labeled the worst defense ever to put on a football uniform. But watch this. Those same guys who had the label of loser were going against those guys who were known to be winners, and they shut them down and stopped them. And the Houston Texans defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers on last week. And when they interviewed them in the locker room, to a man, every man from the owner of the team down to the kicker said, the reason we won instead of losing was we have a new attitude in this locker room. We no longer look for a reason to lose, but we expect to win. We have a mindset. We've made our minds up. No matter what the indicators are, no matter what the past is, we've made our minds up. We have a new attitude, and we are here to win. I know many of you may not be avid football fans or sports fans, but something should have got in your spirit right there. You should have come in here this morning and said, in spite of my past, in spite of my record, in spite of my last name, in spite of what side of the track, in spite of what I've been through, I've made my mind up. I have a new attitude, and I've come in here determined to win. Past failures no longer guarantee future failures. You don't know when to shout. Just because you messed up yesterday, just because of the label you wore last year, you can shake that label, you can beat that thing if you make your mind up. I'm not a loser. Today I declare I am a winner. Be bold enough to declare I'm broke no more. And I'm not just talking about my checkbook. My thoughts are no longer broke. My family is no longer broke. My spirit is no longer broke. My vision is no longer broke. When I view my future, it's no longer broke, but I'm declaring I'm going to learn from being here. I'm going to make my mind up. I'm going to get a new attitude while I'm here. I'm going to figure out what God's trying to say to me while I'm here. So when God says it's time to move, I'll be able to quickly respond to the voice of God. But I can't respond to the voice of God if I'm giving God nothing but excuses. And number two, stop waiting on somebody else to do it for you. That makes you an indentured servant. That makes you a modern-day slave when you can't move until somebody moves for you. And many people who come to church are spiritual slaves because you can't even get your praise on unless the most popular person on your roll decides it's time to praise. Give me what they call shouting music. You know that shouting music. Give me some shouting music. Well, watch this. Watch this. Crank it up. See how mean they are? They want to get up, but they ain't want to be put on the spotlight. But if somebody else would have got up, then the pressure would have been released. And I just told you, but that's like a pop quiz with an open book, and you still failed the test. Try it again. Man, stop waiting. Stop waiting for somebody to do something for you. Man, I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what you need. So I'm not going to allow you to determine what I give back to God. My needs and your needs may not be the same. You just need to keep your lights on at your house. I got 3 houses to keep lights on at. And I'm trying to build another house. So I can't wait to see what you gonna do. I gotta give, and I gotta give. Shut the excuses. Stop waiting on somebody else. Anybody have an iPhone or iPad or anything? Hold it up real quick. Hold your eye. iPhone, iPad. Or your phone that imitates the iPad or iPhone. Hold it up high. Okay, daughter. Yours better than you say. So you say yours better than. I like your spirit. Messing my illustration, but I like your spirit. You say it's better than. You my daughter. It's better than. Yeah. That's the kind of person I like. Better. Say it's better than. Now watch this. The person, keep holding up. The person who inspired that iPhone, iPad, even though yours may be better, yours is birthed out of the concept of the original creator. So even though you're saying yours better, it wouldn't be yours if he hadn't. See, it's like telling your mama, your daddy, I've arrived beyond where you can go. When Negro, you wouldn't be where you are if I would have. Oh, good God! Don't get me started on a whole nother sermon now. You may be bigger today, but you bigger because I gave you all I had. Don't forget, preacher, I prayed you out of your situation. Now all of a sudden you grandstanding. Don't get me started. Anyway, okay. Steve Jobs, who invented that contraption, he died this week. But I did an early study of his life. When he was born what they call out of wedlock. You probably know what that means now because you have babies now, it don't matter. But back then, if a woman got pregnant before she was married, she was frowned upon. I know today you got shows on, baby daddy and teenage pregnant and all that. But back then, it wasn't a good thing back then to be labeled that you were born out of wedlock. It was like you were born, they call a bastard. I'm not cussing, that's just the terminology. That's how low you were. He was born out of wedlock. And because they were so embarrassed to have had him out of wedlock, they put him up for adoption. They gave him away. Gave him away. Somebody say gave him away. They gave him away, okay? So now this boy who was given away had no true identity. He finally goes to college, but after the first semester, he realizes he can't afford to stay in college, so he drops out of college the first semester, but he has nowhere to live. So he has to sleep on his friend's dorm room floor, and he goes around town. Back in the day, you pick up what's called a Coke can, and you take it and they give you some money for a Coke can. He gathered Coke cans to have food to eat. He was a bastard, unwanted, dropped out of college, flat broke, picking up aluminum cans to eat. But when he died, his net worth was $8.3 billion. So now, what's your excuse again? What's your excuse again? Why you messed up? What's your excuse again? Nobody loves you. What's your excuse again? Mama wasn't there. What's your excuse again? Daddy wasn't there. What's your excuse? I went through some stuff. What's your excuse again? Do you want to be healed?